Five main weaknesses that can be observed in weak corporate governance arrangements in finance company. So first you have to list weaknesses in corporate governance arrangements in a finance company. What actions that the board of directors be able to adopt to promote effective corporate governance in their finance companies. List the main responsibilities of board audit committee with regard to internal audit functions of the finance company. List five disclosure requirements to be made in the annual report of a licensed finance company as per finance company's corporate governance direction number 3 of 2008. Now I leave these questions with you, the first four questions. There may be certain you will be able to answer, some you will find it difficult. Anyway, I'm leaving these questions with you. Now you can start writing. After that, we can discuss. I'll give you about 15 minutes first. Okay. At a glance, you would think, okay, we have not discussed this in the class. Weak corporate governance has contributed to financial constitution failure and financial instability. When one finance company fail, that will affect to the others. So I have shown you bank runs. When one bank fails, that will create problems in the entire banking industry. Same with the financial system. List five main weaknesses that can be observed in weak corporate governance arrangements in a finance company. Okay, so we have given you some examples like what happened at uh, Nissan company. Okay, and we talked about Enron. Okay. So all these companies, they were not entirely finance companies or financial intermediaries, but these examples showed us certain areas we will fail. What are they? Think and write. For an example, you can talk about conflict of interest. Then tell me what do you mean by that. Then think about Nissan company, the board of directors, right? Now, CEO is the top of the executive cadre. They are involving in day-to-day management, but there are independent, non-executive, we have talked about. Composition of the board of directors. If more power is to the people who are involving in day-to-day activities, then what happened? Think in that line and write your answer. Okay. So there are questions where you have a ready-made answer. What are the two types of insurance? Ready-made answer. If that, then the exam is very easy. That's how we would say. Now, these kind of questions, right? The examiner is very careful. He's asking you to think and write based on what you have learned. You have talked about conflict of interest. You have talked about composition of the board of directors. You have talked about chairman being the CEO, right? Then we talked about insider trading. Think in that line. Then write your answer for the first one. Okay, so we'll discuss these questions now. At a glance, it seems I don't have a ready-made answer. Okay, yes, there can be such questions. It does not mean that you cannot write an answer. Okay, now this question, even though we have not written, this will be the question, this will be the answer. No, that is not the way we are teaching. We arm you with relevant weapons. You should know how to use them. Right. Now think practically. Board of directors, they are appointed. Okay. And weaknesses that can be observed in weak corporate governance arrangement. Corporate governance arrangement becomes weak. Why? We talked about different failed institutions. Why they failed? When we were talking about primary dealers, I said there will be questions on failed primary dealers, and the reasons are frauds, mismanagement. Right. How do you avoid fraud in a company? Now, fraud will be one reason why a company collapses. Enron is one good example. There can be frauds within the company. Okay. How do you avoid that? By appointing directors, a proper director board. A proper director board means what? The members who are appointed to the board of directors must be qualified enough to understand what is happening inside this company. Now, I'm not talking politics, but there are many state-owned enterprises, and whenever the government change, the ruling party change, the existing board of directors are removed and replaced by a new board of directors. And the main qualification of this new board of directors is being loyal to the ruling party. Luckily, for financial intermediaries, there are certain requirements. You must be qualified to this extent. Then only you can become a director. You must qualify these terms and conditions. But that is not applicable to many other state-owned enterprises if they are not financial intermediaries. When they are financial intermediaries, they are governed by IBSL, sorry, uh, insurance. If it's insurance, then it's governed by Insurance Regulatory Commission. If it's a finance related, say the bank or the finance company, then that is governed by central bank. Then there are directions to be followed. If you want to be a director, what are the areas you have to qualify? These are mentioned. But in other state-owned enterprises, we have seen them collapsing day after day. Whenever a government party, the power changes, the new party appoint a set of directors who are worse than the earlier. That has been the reason for many developing countries' failures. Think it yourself. Unqualified, mismatched, people with other conflict of interest join to these companies at board of directors. They have no interest of sustainability of their companies. What they want their own personal benefits. And finally, these enterprises fail. That's why these questions are set. Corporate governance. Corporate governance is very important. And this area is often tested. I gave you earlier some direct questions. What were they? Chairman holding the position of CEO. Now what can you do? Okay. So likewise, in earlier papers, I showed you often repeated type of questions. Now this I'm showing you that you have to think, you have to read, you have to listen to what we discuss in the class, think deeply on this line and write. Okay. Can someone tell me Weaknesses that can be observed in weak corporate governance management in a finance company. So what are the weaknesses that you can see? First, send me some answers. Weak corporate governance has contributed to financial constitution failure and financial instability. List 5 main weaknesses that can be observed in weak corporate governance arrangements. 5 weaknesses. Very good. We are seeing that. Related party transactions not disclosed. Biased decisions. Good. Meetings not held for at least once in a month. Very good. Number of independent directors less than the number of executive directors. Salaries and rewards are directed by themselves in the director board. Very good. Means what? You can think on what we have been discussing in the class and write. Now I'll read out. Okay. Conflict of interest here. No succession plan. Excessive remuneration to directors. Very good. Think about a company as a political party. Our biggest and the oldest political party. What happened to them? The biggest and oldest political party, which we all thought is having the highest vote base, finally could grab only one seat in the parliament. That's again from the national list. Okay, means what? They failed to have a succession plan. When X leaves, who will take the seat? That was not in the agenda. So everyone was trying to create their own personal image without looking at the company or the party. And you can see what happened to that. Now that's human nature. No succession plan. People want, the leaders want to remain in the mindset of general public as a person who is irreplaceable. In companies, everyone should be replaceable. If not, how can a company run? How can a company maintain the going concern? Okay, I'll read out the answer. Then I'm agreeing with all the facts you have mentioned. You asked to list only 5 facts. Now these are the answers. Inadequately qualified and experienced bank directors and directors with significant conflict of interest. So that's one factor. Conflict of interest, you know that. Okay. The primary objective of the bank or the finance company is to maximize profit. And shareholders appoint you as board of directors to achieve that objective. But there can be some other secondary objective of you fighting with the first objective. That is conflict of interest. Inadequately qualified. You must be able to guide, prepare proper policies, strategic decisions. When you don't have that capacity, but somehow if you have been appointed as a director, you are not fit enough to take the right decisions. Inadequate representation of non-executive and independent directors on the board. You have mentioned that factor. Very good. We talked about independent, non-executive directors. And I have said those who are living on planet Earth believe it's flat. But they all can clearly see the nearest moon is round shaped. In the same manner, anyone living on moon would say moon is flat, but the earth is round. You are not involving in day-to-day activities. You are not walking on the surface you are living. Then from far, you can see the real big picture. Okay. Right. Then insufficient understanding of the nature of risks by directors and senior management. Insufficient understanding of the risk, nature of the risk. Now today, what do we see? Vehicle price has gone up. And we love to lease out these vehicles at these rates. If so, whenever Sri Lankan economy settles, it won't be far. Then there will be a bubble bursting in all these unnecessary escalated things. That day, you will find people are returning their vehicles and buying new ones at a lower price. If that is the case, you have to see it now. That's where you must have sufficient understanding of the nature of the risk. Next, insufficient structures for ensuring appropriate scrutiny and management of conflict of interest, including those arising in business dealings between finance companies and related parties. We often have to do transactions with related parties. Maybe in certain industries, you have only one or two company, a monopoly or duopoly, or maybe oligopoly. There are one player, then you have to buy only from him. Duopoly, only two players. Oligopoly, very few players. If so, if these parties are related to you in whatever manner, then that's a related party transaction. It does not mean we cannot do related party transactions. No, we can do. But there are certain rules to follow. And your independency matters. Next, insufficient accountability of directors for the stewardship of their finance company. Okay, why do you become a director? You're appointed as a director. Then insufficient accountability. I'm accountable to what I'm doing. Insufficient accountability. I'm not responsible for what I'm doing. Okay. Now, earlier, all of a sudden, the government prohibited a specific pesticide used in tea industry, and that affected the tea industry. And a particular monk, a member of parliament, was vehemently supporting this. And the companies were complaining. And they were restricted fertilizer. Plantation companies were struggling. Finally, someone from plantation-related area, namely Navin Dissanayake, he removed all these sanctions. And finally, tea industry became very good at profit-making industry. Okay. Now what is happening? Now, none of these decision makers are accountable to the failure in agriculture. You can do your tests, very good. Concepts are really good. No pesticides, no fertilizer, and crop is giving the usual harvest. If that is fine. If not, do your test somewhere and come to the real world with common sense. And you must be accountable for all the losses that take place due to your failed decisions. That's where accountability comes. But politicians, basically, they are not accountable for what they are doing. That's very bad. In the same manner, directors must be accountable for what they are doing. If not, it's like politics. I do my crazy decisions, and I don't mind how much you're suffering. Inadequate oversight of management by board of directors and poor quality financial and risk-related reporting to the board. That's another. There must be proper structure to report to the board. Then, insufficient rights for shareholders, including in respect of access to information and the ability to hold the board of directors to account. Okay, shareholders. We believe in market discipline. We talked about Basel. One pillar of Basel is market disciplining. What is market disciplining? When shareholders and the general public comes to know about financial situation by reading financial statements, then they must signal the management and the board of directors. signals. How do they signal? Shareholders, they will sell the existing shares and move into shares where performance is really good. So that gives the signal to the management and the board of directors. Look here, my share price is not, my company's share price is not appreciating. Something wrong. People don't. The shareholders do not show confidence to us. We must say, take some drastic decisions. The other side, general public, they come and deposit in these institutions. When they see and when they read financial statements, when they see some kind of mismanagement, they may not interested in depositing further. So that gives signal. Your interest rates goes up. That gives signal, okay, there's something wrong with this. So we believe in market disciplining. We believe the general public read and understand financial statements and take decisions based on that. That decisions give signals. Is it happening? Now that's a problem. Okay. Now, earlier government was interested in introducing capital gain tax. They talked too much on that, and the share market immediately came down. Very recently, a prominent businessman and investor, Dhammika Pella, he was asked whether there will be capital gains again. He said no earlier. They tried it and they could see the signals in the share market. I don't think this government will do that. Means what? That's market discipline. General public earlier all of a sudden showed their voting power and threw certain parties out. And they showed market discipline. General public, shareholders should show their signals. If that is not happening, then there is a problem. Then inadequate risk management systems, internal controls, and internal audit arrangements. We talked about board-appointed committees, integrated risk management committee, and internal audit committee. These committees will help to the sustainable development of the company. Okay, so that's for the first one. Now, those who have not written the answer, look at your chat box. These answers are correct. Understand that. Okay. And we'll move into second one. What actions that the board of directors be able to adopt to promote effective corporate governance in their finance companies? Once again, take 5 more minutes. Send me your answers in the chat box. Then we can discuss. Okay, so those who have already completed, send me the answer in the chat box. What action that the board of directors be able to adopt to promote effective corporate governance in their finance companies?
Cuti puta. Cuti.
Okay, send me your answers for the second one. Okay, so how do you improve on corporate governance? What action the board of directors be able to adopt to promote effective corporate governance? So actions. You want to ensure there is good cooperation, right? So disclosing of related parties, yes. So whenever there is a related party transaction, you have to disclose that. That's one very good mechanism. Tell me other mechanisms. Yeah, that's there. Okay, very good. Others also join. Send me your answers. Think about internal audit side. Now, do you think that existing staff is already aware about all these things? If not, then what can you do? Okay, right. What else can you do? Very good. Training is there. Okay, right. Now I'll read out the answer. Ensuring compliance with regulatory requirements. As you said earlier, these are regulatory requirements. Okay, very good. You have said appoint non-executive directors for these committees who have enough capabilities and qualifications. Very good. Right. Now I am going to read out the answer. Ensuring compliance with the regulatory requirements. Yes. Ensuring arm's length transactions among related parties. Arm's length transactions among related parties means what? Treat your competitors as well as your related party on equal grounds. So that's another factor. Promoting balanced boards comprising expertise in various disciplines. Provide training and educational initiatives to build capacity in corporate governance at various levels, including directors and senior management of finance companies. Okay, right. Now think about Sri Lankan cricket. We won World Cup. Why? One reason. There are many reasons you can assign to. One reason is having a very good coach. Okay. Dave Watmore. He was a superb coach. Means what? You need proper training. Your people may be capable, but they need constant proper training. Right. So most of the time, what happens when you win matches, you think it's time to leave the coach. No more training requirement. We are the champions. That's not the case. That even happened to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali became a champion, and by that time, he converted into another religion, and he believed too much in that. And they said, okay, change the coach. And the coach is changed not because of his training ability, but because of his religion. Next, failure started. Muhammad Ali once again went back to his earlier coach after many failures and said, I have scheduled another match with another opponent. Will I win? The coach looked at him and said, no, you will not win. Then he asked, why? You have put on too much fat. Muhammad Ali asked, okay, I have enough time. What happened if I appoint you as my coach again? Then the coach says, that's a different story. And they once again started practicing. And he won. Means what? You need constant training and education. So there must be providing training and educational initiatives to build capacity, incorporate governance at various levels, including directors and senior management of finance companies. We cannot be 100% sure we know everything. There are many developments taking place. Today, IT-related crimes are soaring up. Then you must have a very good eye on this side. Okay, right. Next, okay, strengthening the incentive for market participants to monitor financial institutions, strengthening market disciplines on finance companies. Yeah. Okay. Strengthening market disciplines for finance companies, including by eliminating or minimizing government support. Finance companies, if they believe, if they fail, government should come and bail out. That is not disciplining them. Okay. If you want to discipline someone, you must ensure you are accountable and responsible for all your actions. Think about sons of good politicians. One son of Muhammad Gaddafi, the Libyan leader, went to Sweden, and in a one way, he drove the car in the other direction for almost 32 kilometers. He was arrested by the police of that country, and Muhammad Gaddafi called this European government and said, if you don't release my son, I'll withdraw all my money from all your banks. And the case settled. I'm not referring to any of the sons in Sri Lankan politics. And I referred this person's son. Okay. So this is what happened. When you know that you are protected, whatever the mistakes you do, you behave differently. Think about, yeah, someone raised the hand by mistake, or do you want to ask anything? Okay. Now, right. Okay. So that's another one. Yeah, moral hazard. Yeah, moral hazard is there. Yes. Moral hazard is when we believe something happen for positive side, it will happen on the other side, and we are continuously motivating that. Yes. Okay. Then we are moving to the other question. What is that? List the main responsibilities of board audit committee with regard to the internal audit functions of the finance company. Okay. Once again, take time, say about 3 or 4 minutes. Send me the answer, then we will discuss. Okay. So the next question. List main responsibilities of board audit committee with regard to the internal audit functions. Board audit committee. Okay, right, good, go ahead. Right, I'll read out. Review the adequacy of the scope, functions, and resources of the internal audit department and satisfy itself that the department has the necessary authority to carry out its work. So the audit committee must have enough resources, capable people to carry out the intent purpose. Review the internal audit program and results of the internal audit process, and where necessary, ensure that appropriate actions are taken to the recommendations of the internal audit department. Internal audit department would come up with recommendations and they are implemented. Ensure that is happening. Review any appraisals or assessments of the performance of the head and senior staff members of the internal audit department. Okay, you have to look at the performance of the members of the internal audit department. Recommend an appointment of termination of the head, senior staff members, and outsourced service providers to the internal audit functions. Ensure that the committee is apprised of resignation of senior staff members of the internal audit department, including the chief internal auditor and any outsourced service providers, and to provide an opportunity to the resigning senior staff members and outsourced services. Provide providers to submit reasons for resigning. Ensure that the internal audit function is independent of the activities in audit that is performed with impartiality, proficiency, and due professional care. Okay, so that's from the board audit part. Then on the disclosures. So I have asked you to go through your own annual reports. Look at what you have to disclose. Okay. Once again, take 2 minutes and send me the answer. What are the disclosures? Then we will discuss. What are the areas that you have to disclose in your internal audit, in your annual report? You are sending these copies of copies of annual report to all of your shareholders. Means what? You are disclosing. Then that is published in the CSC website. You are disclosing to the general public. You are disclosing specifically for your shareholders. Yeah, in your annual report, there are certain, okay. Now we are talking about corporate governance. Regarding corporate governance, what can we disclose? Yeah, we are disclosing information about directors. Who are the directors? What are their qualifications? What is their background? That's one side. So we know they are fit enough to run this company. Is there something else important to disclose about directors? Yeah, well, we disclose their remuneration, not individually, but as an aggregate. Yeah, we have a disclosure on related party transactions. Very good. Very good. Now I'll read out the answer. Board shall, board shall ensure that at least the following disclosures are made in the annual report. Number one, a statement to the effect that the annual audited financial statements have been prepared in line with applicable accounting standards and regulatory requirements, inclusive of specific disclosures. So you say your financial statements are prepared in compliance with the standards, accounting standards. A report by the board of the finance company's internal control mechanism that confirms that the financial reporting system has been designed to provide a reasonable assurance regarding the reliability of financial reporting, and that the preparation of financial statements has been done in accordance with relevant accounting principles and regulatory requirements. Number three, the external auditor's certification on the effectiveness of the internal control mechanism. External auditors, yeah. Details of directors, including names, transactions with the finance company. You have said that. Fees, remunerations paid by the finance company to the directors in aggregate. So you are not talking about one individual, but as a whole, for directors, how much have you paid? We talked about the Japanese CEO, Carlson Ghosn's case. They have to disclose, as per the Japanese legal requirement, the CEO's salary when he earned about a specific amount. So these are disclosures that will, it's like name and shame you. Okay. When the entire Japanese CEOs are earning below this specific income level and they never come to be disclosed, one individual's name surface. So that's naming, disclosing, and almost shame. Okay. Next, total net accommodations as defined in paragraph 9 for outstanding in respect of each category of related parties and the net accommodation outstanding in respect of each category of related parties as a percentage of finance companies' capital funds. Next, the aggregate value of remuneration paid by the finance company to its key management personnel and the aggregate value of the transactions of the finance company with its key management personnel during the financial year. Next, a report setting out details of the compliance with prudential requirements. Next, a statement of the regulatory and supervisory concerns on lapses in the finance company's risk management. Next, external auditor's certification of the compliance with the Act and rules and directions issued by the Monetary Board and the internal corporate governance report. Okay. Now these are the disclosures. Right. Now remember this. Corporate governance is an area often tested. You have to go through it seriously. And don't expect when you do all the past papers and by heart the question and answer, I can pass easily. Yes, in certain questions, it's like if you by heart question and answer, you can pass. What are the two types of insurance? What is bank assurance? What are the types of unit trusts? Okay, but now the examiner is very careful. Instead of looking at how much you can by heart, now the trend is to look at how much you think. And this question shows that. So what we have discussed in the class, what we have discussed with different cases, what you read and get updated in today's context will be helpful. Okay, so it does not mean all the questions will be like this. No, there will be questions where the answer is very direct. But to get beyond a certain amount, say more than C, you want to get a B or A, then you must be able to think and answer, not just by heart and answer. Okay. At the same time, just for the educational purpose, I would say by hearting is not a bad thing. That's one part of our memory. Okay, that's one part of capabilities of human beings. Not all the animals can remember all the things like human beings do. Now, what is slowly happening is we are transferring our abilities to machines and gadgets. Be aware of that. Long ago, there was nothing called uh, digital music tuners. Okay, so you have to increase the capacity of your ear. Then only you can tune an instrument, say a guitar strings. Then man developed mechanical things, a tuning fork. Okay, you hit on the table and make it closer to the one string. If it vibrates, yes, that's tuned. Okay. Now your ear is partially used and you are using more mechanical side. Then comes digital era. Okay. So what happened now? You developed a small gadget and now you can easily tune a guitar. Today, that has become an app, guitar tuning app. Now what has happened to your ear? You don't want your ear anymore. That is overtaken by mobile phone app. Okay. Now, a few years ago, maybe more than a decade ago, I was the welfare president of our company, and during the Sinhala New Year festive, I added a new event. That is, I'll we will blindfold the participants, and they can use their mobile phone Those days you don't have this smartphone, okay, button press phones, and we will tell a mobile number. You have to quickly take the mobile phone and press the buttons. When that particular number is really heard, when the receiver gets this call, we would give the person to the use of this phone. And there are about 10 participants, and the announcer said you have to dial this number quickly. The first person who dial will get the answer. I thought the blindfolded will take so many minutes to do this action, and that will be a very amusing one. Unfortunately, our one of our telephone operators immediately dialed the number. Blindfolded, took the button pressing phone of her quickly without looking at. Really, she can't look. She's blindfold. Press the number. Okay, there was no amusement. The moment number is announced, she rang it. She dialed the number. Then I asked her, "What made you dial so fast?" She said, "Now those days we had about 100 employees in our company," and she said, "I personally can recall all the numbers of all the staff members, 100 mobile numbers. I know by heart." Okay. Now today I'm challenging you. Can you tell me at least 10 numbers, 10 mobile phone numbers of your closely associated? What has happened? Now we have something called telephone directory in our mobile phone. We don't use our memory, we use the gadget's memory. Okay? And look at the number of human abilities now we are transforming for gadgets. When we were doing O levels, we had to by heart all the formulas. When we are doing chartered account SIMA, we have to by heart these formulas. Slowly, the education system developed. Okay, you don't want to by heart the formulas, statistical formulas. You can. We will put them in a table, and you have to do the calculation. Now, we don't want to by heart the formulas. Next came, now you can use scientific calculators. Okay, fine, very good. So what is happening? Our memory transferred to a gadget. Our usage of numbering, number crunching is transferred to gadgets. And who are we now? I have heard a recent presenter said human beings can be defined not as per Karl Marx, working class and capitalist, useful and useless. And he argues, okay, useless means you are not using your human capabilities. You don't want to remember your roadmap. Google it. You have Google Maps, and they will tell you, turn this side, and you are sharp on the destination. Those days, there were drivers. Just say, I want to go to Betty, he knows the roads. Nothing. He's not asking anyone. By hearting, remembering everything. Now you don't want to do that. It is said there are people who do not know how to go to his own office from his residence if he's not having a mobile phone in his hand. That has happened. Okay. Luckily not in Sri Lanka, but in some other countries. That has happened. Okay. So remember, read, understand, and remember things. Now we are checking your ability to think. That shows with this question. Okay. Now I'm taking you to some other area before looking into next set of questions. You can Google directions, circulars, guidelines. So you can just say directions for finance companies. Then you will end up with this site, central bank site. You can see the number of directions which are adding from time to time. You need not to by heart them, but if you go through them, you will, if you read them, that will be useful for your day-to-day business life as well as for your exam. We'll take the recent one. Recognition of Lanka Rating Agency Limited as an acceptable credit rating agency. Okay. So what are the credit rating agencies you are aware? Fitch, Standard and Poor. Right. Now Lanka Rating Agency is also recognized. Okay, so that's all. This circular is all that. Then the mapping of credit rating agencies, Fitch, ICRA, Lanka rating scale for capital ratios. So the best is AAA, then comes these rates. Right. Okay. You'll take another one. Amendment to Circular Number 6 of 2021 on concessions for COVID-19 affected business and individuals. Okay. Please read them. NBFIs shall extend the deferment of recovery of capital interest or both of the existing credit facilities of borrowers who enjoy the deferment under Circular Number 6 of 2021 until 30th September 2021. Penal interest shall not be accrued. NBFIs shall accommodate any request from affected borrowers to delay the due dates of loan repayments by few days, maximum 15 days, due to the quarantine lockdown, without deferring or restructuring such facilities. NBFIs shall not charge any additional interest or other charges for such delay. NBFIs shall suspend all type of recovery action against credit facilities of eligible borrowers that have been classified as non-performing on or after 1st April 2020 until 30th September 2021. And yesterday you got the message that is extended by another period. NBFIs shall not charge any. Okay, so I'm requesting you in your free time, go to these sites. Okay, get updated. Okay, right. Now we'll look into the other question. Now here first we have the Act on insurance. Then briefly explain two classes of insurance business to be registered under the cited Act. That's something very simple. Okay, do that. What are the main functions of Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka? Now remember, the regulator of insurance, earlier we said IBSL, Insurance Board of Sri Lanka. Now if you ask that today, so that is Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka, IRCSL. Okay, I think I shared a reading material with you recently that talked about direction by Insurance Regulatory Commission on mobile phone associated insurance packages. List minimum criteria to be satisfied to become an insurance company. What is an investment linked insurance policy? Okay, so I'll give you about 10 minutes, right? Write whatever you can easily, then we'll discuss. The first one is very easy, but examiner is changing the words. Okay, right. Write your answers. Okay, so first one, I don't think you have to take time to think. You can automatically write the answer, send me the answer for the first one. Okay, so whenever you complete the answer, send me that. First one is very easy, send me the answer. Second one, I have talked that, so you can send me the answer. Fourth one, yes, that's something very simple, send me the answer. Okay, so first one, what is the answer? Very good. Very good. So the repeated question was, what are the two types of insurance? Okay, good. Now, this question, wordings were different. Two classes instead of two types, two classes. Okay, that's there. But since when you are getting 5 marks, try to write in detail. Okay, I'll read out. Number one, general insurance business. Number two, life insurance, or you can say long-term insurance. Then you describe what is general. Insurance contracts that do not come under the ambit of life insurance are called general insurance. The different forms of general insurance are fire, marine, motor, accident, and other miscellaneous non-life insurance. The tangible assets are susceptible to damages, and a need to protect the economic value of the asset is needed. For this purpose, general insurance products are bought as they provide protection against unforeseeable contingencies like damages and loss of the asset. General insurance products come at a price in the form of premium and generally issued for a period of 12 months. Number two, long-term insurance. Life insurance is a contract between an insurance policy holder and an insurer or assurer, where the insurer promises to pay a designated beneficiary a sum of money in exchange for a premium upon the death of an insured person. In addition, insurance of pension scheme, permanent health insurance, etc., are covered in long-term insurance business. Okay, so if you just write 1 and 2, general and life, you get 2 marks. But if you describe that, you get 5 marks. Okay, second one. Yeah, second one, send me the answer. You have a ready-made package type answer, send me that. Regulator, their duty, that's all. Send me that answer. IRC, Insurance Regulatory Commission, that is the regulator now. Now tell me the functions, responsibilities, duties of the regulator, main functions of Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka. The functions of regulator, very good. Grant, suspend, and cancel license, very good. Other factors, okay, I'll read out. You can apply this almost for all regulators. Register persons as insurers, register persons as insurance brokers, register persons as loss adjusters, advise the government on the development and regulation of the insurance industry, implement the policies and programs of the government with respect to the insurance industry, enter into any bilateral or multilateral memorandum of understanding, employ such officers and servants as may be necessary for the purpose of exercising, performing, and discharging the powers, duties, and functions of the Commission, acquire and hold any property, movable or immovable, sell, lease, mortgage, or otherwise dispose of the same, enter into all such contracts as may be necessary for the exercise. Okay, so that's covering almost all the regulators. Then qualifying, that's number 3. Okay, so how do you get qualified as a insurance company? What are the pre-requirements? Number 1, it must be a public company incorporated in Sri Lanka under the Companies Act number 7 of 2007. A stated capital of not less than 500 million. Board of directors who are not subject to any one or more of the disqualifications specified. Deposit to be made to the treasurer. Registration fee. Any other requirements? Okay. Then the last one. Once again, send me the answer. Investment linked insurance. What is that? Investment linked insurance. What is that? Investment linked insurance. Yes. Investment linked insurance. Okay, very good. Life insurance plan that combines investment protection. Yes. Now, Janashakti, I think they had Lakshmi. That's the brand name for the product. You get a life insurance. Plus, the premiums are invested and you are given a return upon the maturity, substantially high amount. So the answer is investment linked insurance policy means a life insurance policy that provides a combination of protection and investment benefit. You are protected, that's the assurance, plus investment. A part of the premium paid will be provided your life insurance cover, while the other part will be invested in specific investment funds of insured choice. The insurance cover provided would include a death benefit at minimum, with the option of including other insurance benefits depending on the insurance choice and the availabilities. Okay, so you are definitely given death benefit. If you die, your dependents will get amount. Plus, if you don't die, okay, upon maturity, you will be given a substantially good amount for investment. So the money is partially used as a life assurance and the other as an investment option. Yeah, promised amount will be paid at the maturity and the premium will be invested in other business, example, gold, and the maturity yield will be paid to the customer. Yes, that's there. Now, this is something, okay, so what is that? Okay, let's see this one. Yeah, this one. I think 2 weeks ago, I sent you this for reading material. So this is article published in Sunday Times. Insurance regulator orders halt to insurance hawking through mobile service providers. Okay, very simply, I would say like this, just for educational purpose, right? One day I got a call and to my mobile number, and the caller said, if I agree with what he says, out of my monthly mobile phone bill, they will add 600 rupees. And I'll be given a day insurance up to 600,000 if I die. And 600,000 is not a big amount. Then I said, okay, fine. Then what can I do? He said, okay, if you agree, I'll activate it now. And tell me who will be your nominee. Then I said, my wife. Okay, tell me her number, tell me her name and NIC number. That's all. Very next month, my mobile phone bill came, 600 was deducted for this insurance policy. So that's a collaboration between the insurance company and the mobile phone service provider. That way you can easily grab business. Now this is about that. After years of overlooking irregularities, the Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka, IRCSL. So who is the regulator of insurance in Sri Lanka? Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka has ordered insurance companies to stop using mobile service providers to hawk their policies and to accept liability themselves. Okay, so that's the example I quoted. The directions issued on Monday are aimed at ensuring that mobile phone subscribers are well informed of the policies being sold to them and have a clear understanding of benefits and exclusions. Now, I don't know what covered and what is not covered. Now, if it was a considerable amount, I would discuss a lot, but it's 600,000. And I am insured that was 600 rupees. Okay, sorry, just below 1,000 rupee. Okay, 600 rupees per month, just 600. And I'm entitled for 600,000. I pay 600, and if I die, I'll be paid 600,000. So I didn't ask much questions. All right. This is a sharp contrast to how a per-day insurance was being sold by leading mobile phone operators to their network users till now. Now, that is the example I quoted. While insurance selling requires trained agents to explain policies in some detail to potential customers. Normally, what happened? An insurance agent would come to me, describe me what the policy is. Then finally, when I nod, he'll take all my information, go back, go to the actuarian, evaluate, come back to me, and he'll come up with the proposal. You are covered by these things, and if your finger is cut this much, if your head is cut this much, if you lose this part this much, and if you die, your nominee, who is your nominee, okay, they will get this much. Everything is clearly described to me. Then I would, and now you have to pay for monthly this much. Then I would say, okay, I can't pay that much. Then he goes back and come with another policy, discuss. That's how it happened. Now here, nothing. Very small amount, 600. Okay, that's not a big amount. It's 100 rupees. It's not a big amount. And you are given per day insurance. What do you mean by per day insurance? Right? The whole discussion was about 2 minutes, or even lesser than that. And there was no document to sign. I said yes. And from next month, from my mobile phone bill, 600 deducted. That's all. While insurance selling requires trained agents to explain, okay, right? Mobile enabled insurance was carried out in Sri Lanka through short telephone calls, usually under 5 minutes, definitely. In my call, it was even less than 2 minutes, during which the prospect was made to sound as attractive as possible. Yeah, they are very good at sales. There was typically no contract. Definitely, I didn't sign anything. For the customer to examine, and no clarification about exclusions. Yes, I do not know. 600, it's not a big amount, so I didn't discuss. And there was no independent research on how many Customers gave up, forgot, and did not realize or understand what a policy entailed. Yes, if I die, no one knows. But in direction, published on its website, the RCSL now mandates that the present method of using the platform of telecommunication service providers service such as mobile and fixed line by insurers for selling insurance products to potentially policyholders and general public shall be stopped forthwith. Okay, now we have to stop that. Now that's what regulators doing. They look into practices, advertising mechanisms, and the fair usage, the fair trading. Then they will take directions like this. So you must get updated. This was published in Sunday Times, and I shared that. Read that. Get updated. Okay. Right. Now we'll look into another set of questions. So what I'm saying now, I have completed my syllabus. Now I'm looking at questions and answers. The first set of questions I took direct. What is the question? What is the answer? Have we discussed that in the class? Most probably yes. Now comes a difficult situation. You must get updated. I have never talked about this, but if you are a careful reader, if you get updated, then a question from this end will not be a difficult thing. Who is the regulator of mobile phones? Who is the regulator of insurance industry? Then you must be able to say IRCSL. Okay. What is the latest development on mobile phone service provider collaborated with the insurance company? Then you must say this is what. Okay. Instead, insurance companies shall obtain the database of telecommunication service providers and sell their products directly to the potential policyholders, generally public and customers, through the insurer's own marketing techniques and strategies. It is not using someone from the mobile service provider. Instead, your sales agent must talk to the customer. Yes, you can use the database from them. Talk to the customer by your experienced sales guy. Do the calculations, get the sign, and do it. Right. Next question. September, 2016. Last week or earlier, we talked about microfinancing, and I said there were very few questions. So you are just asked what is microfinance. Now you have some understanding. The relevant act is number 16, year 2016, Microfinance Act. Right. I'm leaving this question with you. Take about 5 minutes. Then send me the answers. Money changing. Okay, who is that? Microfinancing, what is that? Leasing, what is that? Venture capital, what is that? These days we talked about money changing. Microfinance, you know that. Leasing, we have discussed. Venture capital, we have taken a full day session. Okay. Send me the answers now. Yeah. Outline the specific importance and the nature of the following financial service to the financial system and the economy. Yeah. Yes, quickly send me the answers. Money changing, what is that? Very simple. When you go to Alavata, you go to Prasanna, or maybe when you go to Peta, you will find entire streets, money changing. Tell me about that. Simple as that. When you want to go to a foreign country, maybe as a tourist, you need to convert Sri Lankan rupees into their currency, maybe to US dollars, and go to there and convert to that to the domestic currency. So you need money exchanges. So that is the first one. Money changing, the business of exchanging one currency for another with the deduction of a commission for the service. Facilitates currency conversions, tourism, building up of foreign exchange inflows, foreign remittances. Okay. Number two, microfinance. We talked microfinance means we are giving facilities for the people who are not qualify to get facilities from banks and finance companies. They are not in the position to provide relevant assets as a collateral, and their income level is low to get qualified to the mainstream financial intermediaries. Okay, the model answer. Microfinancing is considered a catalyst for growth in the informal economy, small business, self-employment, agriculture sector, SME sector, financial inclusiveness, provide access to financial services to the underbanked, essential part of poverty reduction efforts, facilitates education, improve nutrition level. Okay, so microfinance is financing the low income earners. It is targeting the population which fails to get qualified for banks and finance companies. Microfinance aims at uplifting the living standard of low income earners. In that direction, number one, education hyphen financial literacy level of these low income earners is increased. Number two, living standard of these low income earners is expected to increase. Microfinancing starts with small amount of loans. Since they don't have a proper collateral, guaranteeing by a society formed will be sufficient. Okay, right. Then leasing. Quickly send me about leasing like that. Okay, very good. Leasing, one of the main sources of financing working capital investment in the economy. The transport sectors, personally and public transport, machinery financing, in the construction sector, manufacturing sector, agriculture sectors facilitates economic development. Important component of SME financing. Okay, facilitates acquisition of variety of equipments. Okay, right. Your answer is accepted. To meet working capital, provide machines and equipments, mainly operation lease and finance lease. Agreed. Last one, venture capital. You know that. Send me quick answers. Venture capital. What is that? Yes. Venture capital, what is that? An unconventional financing method which provides seed funding to start up new businesses. Okay. Right. To provide capital for the new businesses. Okay. Right. Very good. I'll read out. Venture capital provides access to capital for startup companies that lack assets or cash flows for traditional debt financing. Banks and financing companies are generally reluctant to fully finance equipment for startups, as they require financials of at least 3 years to access creditworthiness. Raising equity capital is also costly for startup companies. Provision of venture capital to such companies encourage innovation, research and development in technology, job creation. Okay, I accept your answers. Now, quickly answer this one. Payment mechanism. 1, 2, 3, 4. Send me your answers, then we'll discuss them. Yeah, Sri Lanka interbank payment system, slips. Very good. Very good. Right. Second one, RTGS. RTGS. Okay, we'll see. Right. Next one. Who provide the payment card services? What are the benefits and risks of payment cards? Quick answers for that. Payment cards. Who provide that? No, payment card system. Okay. What is this question? It's about who provide payment card services. Your credit card service, who provide them? What are the benefits and risks of using credit cards and debit cards? Okay. Who provide them? Now, bank is the conduit. Who provide them? Not that. Not that. Take your credit card. There is a logo printed. What is that? In addition to your, okay, correct, Amex. What else? Visa, Masters. Very good. Right, good. Now you know that. Okay, so read the question very carefully. You know the answer. Now, risks and benefits. Just tell me risks and benefits. Credit card. What are the users? We have discussed this. For anything, you can say something very simply. What is that? For anything. Hassle. We talked that. Hassle of using money. Right. Okay. That's right. No need of. Right. What else? Security. Easy to pay. Then credit card, what is the benefit? Exactly, as a credit facility. Very good. What are the risks persisted? What are the associated risks of using cards? Okay. Okay. Now these are the benefits. What are the risks? Right. In layman's language, what are the risks? Okay. In simple language, okay. Risk exceeding expected levels of expenses. System breakdowns. Okay. Right. Hacking. Right. Very good. The first one, yeah. Useless consumption for clients. Very good. Okay. So remember, credit card is a very useful instrument in today's context. You need not to carry money, and there's a credit limit associated. Okay. And when we are discussing this in the classroom, I said one of my friend who is a SME guy, he's running an aquarium and he's providing fish tanks for banks and finance companies. Anyway, a wealthy business guy, the SME. One day, his son fell from a high table and he carried him immediately to the hospital, a private hospital. Private hospital asked him, number one, whether you have a insurance cover? No. Number two, you have a credit card? No. Then you must make a cash deposit. So in a hurry, do you think you withdraw your money while on the way and want to submit your uh, son or daughter? No. But if you have a credit card, that's come out to your purse very handy. Okay. So in an emergency, credit cards are extremely useful. There's no need to have this security requirement. Okay. So for money, we have transaction motive, precautionary motive, and speculative. We need not to keep anything for precaution as long as we have a credit card. These are the best side. The worst, my God, I have met many people who do not know how to use a credit card. Whenever your SMS gives you a nice alert, okay, 20% discount, you go and rush. Do you need this much of shoes? Do you need this much of hotel packages? My God, that's a discount. I can't miss it. For God's sake, whether it's a discount or not, you have to spend. Right? So people have become conspicuous consumers. They want to buy something and put that on the Facebook and motivate others to follow. And everyone is buying. And they do not know how to pay. No one is sharing their credit card statement on the Facebook, but sharing what they purchased out. And they struggle and maintain the minimum payment, and you can pay forever. Okay, right, fine. Now we'll move to the other one. Thanks, you have answered. Describe how the check imaging and truncation system operates in Sri Lanka. Okay, I'll read out. Yes, descriptive answer. In May 2006, Lanka Clear Private Limited introduced check imaging and truncation (CIT) system, which facilitates the electronic present of a check image and clearance of check. The CIT system introduced a uniform check clearing time schedule for T plus 1, where trading day is the day on which Lanka Clear Private Limited receives the checks for clearing, and 1 is the following business day, T plus 1, trading day plus another day, throughout the country, enabling licensed commercial banks to credit proceeds of checks to their customers' accounts to the following business day. Under this system, dishonored return checks have been replaced with a check return notification. The net clearing balances under the CIT system are settled in the RTGS system. At 8:30 a.m., while net balance of the settlement clearing of the CIT system, which handles CRNs, are settled in the RTGS system at 2:45 p.m. on each business day. Technologically improvements carried out to CIT systems enabled LCPL to extend the cutoff time for accepting the check for T plus 1 clearing and advance the inward return submission cutoff time, thereby enhancing the efficiency of CIT system. Accordingly, island-wide minimum cutoff time for collection of check deposit for T plus clearing was extended to 3 p.m., while cutoff time for credit proceeds of cleared checks to the beneficiaries amounts was advanced to 2:30 p.m. with effect from December 2013. Check return percentage is around 4% at the end of 2014, maintaining downward trend in check returns. Okay, then briefly explain the role of Lanka Clear Private Limited. Okay, Lanka Clear, with its expanded services offers, plays the role in the national payment infrastructure provider of the country. Offers multiple solutions, not only for the banking sector but also across all industries that are ready and willing to adapt, integrate to the latest digital technology. In an era where electronic payment modes are gaining popularity worldwide, Lanka Clear has set the foundation and platform for that. As the catalyst of change in Sri Lankan payment industry, the company has continuously strived to maintain higher standards. Okay. Next one. We have about 16 minutes. Right to answer. September 2014. Name the primary or major regulator. Now, who is regulating this? And brief and following institutions and brief the nature of such regulations. Okay. Who is regulating them? What do they do? Exchanges. We talked about exchanges. Who is regulating that? Cooperative societies. We talked that. Primary dealers. We said who is the insurance brokers. Now you know that. Write your answers quickly. Okay. Yeah, exchanges. Who is the regulator? Exchanges. Who is the regulator? Yeah. Exchanges. The word itself will direct you where the regulator is. SEC. Very good. Securities Exchange Commission. Okay. Then, what is their duty? The role of the SEC regarding exchanges, licensing, and delisting. Okay. Then the second one, who is the regulator? Cooperative societies. We talked in the class. Second one, cooperative societies. Who is the regulator? Department of Cooperative Development. You would say Commissioner of Cooperative Development. Cooperative Development Commissioner. Commissioner of Cooperative Development. Okay. Answer is accepted. So what is that? Again, you can say nature is licensing, regulating, auditing. Okay. Licensing, regulating, and auditing. Then the third party. What is that? Primary dealers. We talked in the class. Who is the regulator of primary dealers? CPSL. Okay. Then the nature, licensing, regulating, supervising, examining. Okay. Then the last one, who is that? Insurance brokers. Who is the regulator? IRCSL, Insurance Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka. Earlier we talked IBSL. Okay, once again, the same thing. What is that? Licensing, regulating, supervising, examining, directing. Okay, right. Then we have 10 more minutes. Once again, under payment mechanism. Yeah, payment cards. So we talked about Visa, Masters, Amex, Diners Club. Okay. Describe the nature of the following and the importance to the public and the company. Payment cards, can say that. Fund transfers, yeah. Fund transfers. So we talked about slips RTGS. So that's fund transferring. And you can transfer with SWIFT. Okay. So the importance is eliminating the hassle of carrying currency likewise. Then you have mobile cash. Right. So the nature is payment through mobile phones. The importance eliminating the problem of hassle of carrying money. Okay. Very fast, convenient. So that's there. Then the last one, payment and settlement system. So the nature is various systems for making online and offline payment and settlement, such as checks, RTGS, SWIFT, slips, and yeah, cards. Importance, once again, efficiency, free of hassle of using cash, reduce the transaction cost. Okay, right. So today we looked into different areas. Currency exchange. Okay, right. Now, today we looked into different areas and we looked into past papers. Now you can understand one thing. From one side, you must show that you know and understand the entire syllabus. The other side, you must consistently keep on updating. This subject evolves. What we said earlier may be removed next. And certain questions check whether you keep on updating. That's where this site comes in handy. Okay, so I'll take some questions on directions. But remember, when you looked at past papers, we may look into some past directions. But look at current situation. We faced COVID. Immediately, entire world had a standstill. Nothing happened. Okay. During this time, the most affected countries, they looked into it very seriously. Say Italy, initially, they really suffered, and they said, okay, fine, if you're on rent, you need not to pay the building rent, right? And when you're on loans, we'll go for moratorium, and our countries followed. At the same time, it does not mean everyone suffered. Chemical industry, pharmaceuticals, okay, hospitals, they all made profits in Sri Lanka. The same when you think about the kind of products we export, say rubber gloves, amazing, dipped products, which belongs to Haley's. They could list superb profits. Expo, the logistical area, they once again listed superb profits, unexpected profits, thanks to this COVID. But there were a lot of affected parties. So the affected parties deserve some kind of assistance from the government. If not, the entire financial system will collapse. Okay. Once again, be very practical. When we were discussing about gold, we said only two sources for gold. One is mining, the other is recycling. Think about vehicles in Sri Lanka. We have only two sources, importing, reselling. Okay. Now import is restricted. No vehicle imports. We have forex issue. Then recycling, a greater amount of vehicle yards is empty. Finance companies and banks are no more repossessing vehicles, and you are not auctioning vehicle. Means what? Recycling is stopped. So what remains? Now there is a superb opportunity for bubbling up the price, and that's happening. Right. Then concessions. Think about certain industries. If you are in tourism, thanks to Saharan and thanks to COVID, for almost 2 odd years, you had no income. How many people live related to tourism-related jobs? Say drivers, tourist guides, hotels, those who provide materials and food items to hotels, all suffer. And bus, public transport owners, that was a thriving and a profitable business. Now what has happened? It became a loss-making one. And government allowed to increase the ticket, but still there were so many lockdowns. Finally, the bus conductors and drivers, they moved into many other areas like selling vegetables and so many different things. 2 odd years, they also suffered. Think about school canteens. There are a lot of people who lived out of selling something nearby schools. Now they all lost their income. Now comes the concessions, and it keeps on continuing. Foreign currency borrowings. Now these are recent directions. Objective, stabilize any unwarranted macroeconomic and financial sector volatilities in the country created by foreign funding exposure of licensed finance companies. Provide a risk management framework for licensed finance companies on the exposure of foreign currency. Okay. Foreign currency borrowings shall be within a maturity of 2 years or more, not on the short term. Okay. So these are current directions. Okay. Moratorium. That's for tourism industry. General terms and conditions. Debt moratorium refers to moratorium for both capital and interest for the further period of 6 months, commenced from 1st April to 30th September. Now that is further extended. Okay. Eligible borrowers who wish to avail the moratorium shall make a request seeking such a moratorium to the relevant NBFI on or before 19th April. So the second, third, now we are going for moratoriums. Okay. Passenger transport. Right. Once again, now this is why governments do not like to continue on lockdowns. The more you lock down, the more moratoriums you have to give. Okay. Therefore, governments always prefer to allow to free movements of the economic activities. If not, you have to come for this artificial solution. Maximum percentage of share capital. Okay. Go through these recent directions. Right? You need not to buy hard, but at least you must see this is how the directions are being set. Okay. And as I said, there was a recent amendment for the fitness and propriety. Now, even after 70, you can make a request and extend up to 75. Okay. So read on these things. Right. So next week also we'll do questions like this. And within this month, still there is no specific on exam date. Okay. And please check, there will be evaluation form. Right. Check with the office. There's evaluation form that you have to evaluate the lecturer. Right. So I'll update on exam dates, not so far fixed. With that, I'll end today's session. Anyway, I'll end the entire lecturing session within this month. All right. So I'll do a few more questions. And once I'm happy with your level, and I'll definitely stop lecturing for your classes within this month. Okay. Thank you.